Welcome to Digital Hospitality. I am your host, Shawn Walchef. This is a CaliBBQ media production. And today I have a very special co-host, Priyam Saraswat. He is the founder of Voosh, and we are in Ramona at Mamma Ramona's with the proprietor, the man that is a pizza technology legend, Andrew Simmons. Andrew, welcome to Digital Hospitality.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have a co-host all the way from the other side of the world. Priyam just relocated to Palo Alto. Priyam, welcome to the co-hosting duties.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be a co-host. I've been always on the other side, so it's good to host.
It's good to host.
With you.
You got to ask tough questions.
I'm going to ask some tough questions. Just kidding. We're going to talk a lot of good stuff for sure. Tough or not, we'll see.
The coolest thing for me is we started this show back in 2017. It started as Behind the Smoke. It was a barbecue marketing and business podcast, but now it's evolved into so much more. And I think we're going to just start the show with Andrew telling, how did we meet, Andrew? We're in the same city. We're both in San Diego County. We're both independent restaurant owners, and yet now we're connected by something much deeper, which is digital hospitality. And that's why we're connected to people like you that are listening. You, the listener, you, the viewer. Andrew, how did you and I meet?
You and I met. I was trying to recruit you to speak at an event that I had going. And we ended up having a conversation. You asked me if I did any kind of social media. And I said,
that doesn't sound like me.
No, I don't do anything at all. And you said, you need to get out there and you need to tell your story. And so I started telling my story, and it felt really super awkward at first, like you said it would be. And I kind of grew from there. So, I mostly talk just on LinkedIn. I'm bridging into Instagram a little bit, but I mostly write on LinkedIn about what happens inside this restaurant, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's what I do.
What's incredible to me is when somebody does the work. I go on stages. I'm fortunate to have gone to Toronto to speak, and Chicago and New York and Los Angeles. And I speak to audiences. We do this show. But my grandfather, he told me to stay curious. So curiosity will lead someone to a podcast. It will lead someone to read an article in a magazine. It will lead someone to go to a keynote. But the next step is to get involved. If you hear something that inspires you, are you willing to get involved? And are you willing to be uncomfortable and do the work? You did the work, and now you're seeing the fruits of that work.
Yes.
Tell the audience about this LinkedIn journey of where has it gone and what have you learned?
So I bought this restaurant back in January of 2020, a month before COVID hit, with a partner who we'll just call my CNO, my Chief No Officer. So anything I want to do in the
Chief
restaurant.
No Officer.
And, we came from doing deliveries for restaurants for 5 years. We did it. And this restaurant came up for sale. And we thought, we've been telling restaurants why they should do delivery. Let's buy a restaurant and figure out why they don't want to do delivery with us. And so we bought the restaurant. We turned a large pile of cash into a smaller pile of cash.
Is that how it works?
And then we hit COVID a month later.
Yeah.
And we got to live through what every other restaurant was going through. So we made kits. We put a dough ball and some pasta sauce and that's how we survived that summer. I think we did like 1,500 kits a month.
Wow.
And that brought in like $8, $9 per kit. And we literally had people just lined up and just making kits. And that's how we survived. And we got through COVID till they reopened. And so we kind of ran it, but my CNO wanted nothing to do about fixing anything, about doing anything. And then I came to learn that he actually hated the restaurant. It was just like this money sink all the time. Mm-hmm. And so in July of 2022, I bought him out. And I went around, I set forth to do what I really wanted to do with the restaurant, which was to automate it. This restaurant's been around since 1977. It had a cash register. It didn't have any POS. When we bought it originally, everything was old or broken. And, like when the fire inspector comes through and they look at your Ansel system and it's been expired for 7 years, and then they're like, you got to fix this right now or you can't stay open. And I'm spending $7,000 to fix it. So that's kind of how we got to here. So in July of last year, I set about really modernizing the restaurant. I first went through and fixed stuff. I fixed the air conditioner, I fixed the roof, I fixed the ovens and whatnot. But then I started looking like, how do I automate? Because, I see in the news that in California, they're passing a bill that every fast food worker is going to make at least $26 an hour by some certain year. And I'm thinking, that's fast food. And yes, it's for, larger chains, but all of that stuff rolls down.
Yep.
So it's going to hit us soon. So I started looking at how to automate that process. I have 14 employees right now, and we're making pizzas and all that stuff, and we're churning a lot of money through there, but it's going to payroll.
Yep.
And it's going to supplies. So I looked at different tech. I ended up ordering a machine called a Picnic, and it makes pizzas, and it makes it at a pretty fast rate, 150 pies per minute.
Wow.
Now, or 135, somewhere in there. So we put the dough, but then you realize that even though you've got this certain piece of tech, now there's all this other stuff around it that has to be modernized or brought up to speed for the automation. It's great that I can produce 150 pies an hour, but I have no way to cook them fast enough. So that leads me to buying some ovens from Turbo Chef, some fire pizza ovens. They're awesome. They're not great for throughput. It's like one pie in, one pie out, but they do a beautiful job in 90 seconds. And so now I can make pies really fast. Like I can cook a pie from dough ball to finish in 130 seconds. So we've got something really fast that we can do. So over time, in the last year, I've added, removed, bought, sold, tried out, gotten rid of all kinds of tech, and I write about it all on LinkedIn. Some of it's, most of it's good because I do a lot of research before I buy it. But some of it turned out to be crap. And so it, gets booted off the island, for lack of a better word. So that's kind of what I do. I do unboxing videos, which I learned from Shawn, and I have fun with those. Unboxing.
I love the unboxing videos.
Nice.
So I've done that. I write about the tech. I write about what works, what doesn't work, and how it works within what we're doing. And through this time frame, I've now built this footprint of how to take what I've learned and how to take it further, open up more locations, smaller footprints, less staff, more money, and how to do it inexpensively. I don't have to buy a brand new oven. I don't have to, there's a lot of opportunities out there to move in and out of things. Like for instance, I'm signing up with Cloud Kitchens. That's a 1-year lease.
Yep.
So I can move in and out faster than if I say, grab some brick and mortar where I have to sign a 5-year lease and a 5-year extension and all this other stuff. I almost rented a location in Oceanside that was going to require me to get a $50,000 deposit, some kind of UCC filing, rent and personal guarantees for both me and my wife because we're in California, because they said if I fail, they can just pluck my house, So, I switched to Cloud Kitchens because I can go into Cloud Kitchens and I can go in for 1 year. I can see if it works, the concept works, and if it doesn't work, I can pull out and move somewhere else.
Yep.
I've since found Maker Kitchens, so I do stalk you to see where you're going as well.
We're familiar with both Cloud and Maker, absolutely.
So I am going to rent some space in Maker as well, kitchen number 15.
Yep.
I'm going to try it out there. We'll be neighbors. You're on the other side of the hallway somewhere.
Sports arena, absolutely.
I think that was your barbecue I saw in that memo.
Most likely, yes.
So through this, I think I can take what I've learned here and what I'm doing and grow and expand. So I signed a lease in Philly for some more space. It's a little bit further away, but it's a cool red eye that flies out of here at 10 o'clock at night. I arrive at 7 in the morning in Philly. I can do my work there. I can get back on the plane. I'm back in San Diego by 9.
Wow.
It's a crazy day, but
It's a crazy day.
But I do have an office in Philly for my other, job that I work occasionally called Delivered. So, we do, essentially catering delivery, on-demand deliveries. So I do have a little bit I have to go out there for anyways. So, but I'm looking at San Francisco. I'm looking at Tempe. I'm looking at Phoenix. I'm looking wherever there's a Cloud Kitchen that I can bring my technology to, and I can roll out what I think is my secret weapon, which is selling subscriptions. And I sell a subscription for pizza. It's 52 weeks, one 12-inch pepperoni or cheese pizza per week. for usually $99. Retail is about $199, but it gives me some leeway if I want to do like a Black Friday special, or I want to do something that I can drop that cost back down to $99. But I average about $99 for the year. And then these memberships or these subscriptions work just like a gym membership. You're going to use it a lot in the first 4 to 6 weeks, and then you're going to stop using it or use it less and less until by summer, you're maybe going to the gym once a week. It's the same with our subscriptions. We do a great pizza, but people don't want to eat pizza every single week or every other week. So we see overall about a 44% redemption on our pies, which means that pie, which cost me $2.65 to manufacture, cook, slice, whatever, and get it to the customer, I'm now only doing less than half of the number that they subscribe to. And it's a use it or lose it. You use it this week, great. You don't use it, you lose it. But you could take that subscription and gift it to somebody that week and let somebody else try it. We're fine with that. But generally people don't. They hang on to it, they don't say a word. But then they come back and they renew the following year for more of it. Because at $99, even if I only used it 5 times, I made my money back if I'm buying retail. So that subscription that we run here in Ramona will be the same that we'll run in every single location that we open up. And that gives us our operating capital and what we need to survive for the first 6 months of operation while we build our whole business.
Awesome. Amazing. Can I ask like one point?
In order to co-host, you got to let's go, baby.
Exactly,
let's go.
Yeah, you're supposed to be asking questions, not letting me talk.
I know. So, Andrew, you brought a very, very interesting point that when you were starting, COVID was just hitting, right? So I just want to take your perspective, because a lot of restaurant owners have perceived COVID in different ways. A lot of them were in trouble. A lot of them sort of innovated. I just want to know how you see the landscape evolving, sort of the pre-COVID era, the COVID era, and the post-COVID era. How do you see overall, the industry evolving, innovating, or going in a negative direction? Just want to take your views. How did you perceive anything specific you looked at when COVID hit, and any learning which you have sort of taken forever from that incident?
Yeah, I think that the landscape has changed significantly. I think that restaurants realized that they needed to do something different. It reminds me a lot of, back in 1999, 98, somewhere in there, I bought one of the first digital presses in the country, and then I bought a second one. Yeah. Everybody was still doing traditional print. They all had the Shinahars and the Heidelbergs and everything. They were all printing. And I bought digital, and nobody was interested in doing digital. It took the dot-com bubble in 2007, 2008 to happen. And then suddenly everybody was interested in doing digital. Yeah. And the whole landscape for printing changed. Correct. Went from traditional to digital. By then, I was already gone. I'd sold it. I'd moved on to Kodak. I was selling digital presses for them. But I was at that forefront when nobody else was. And I see that same kind of thing that's happened with COVID. Everybody did everything the way they've always done. And then COVID hit. And then suddenly we had to pivot to learn how to do delivery. We had to pivot to learn how to sell online. We had to pivot to learn how to do all these things. And not all the restaurants could pivot fast enough or had that capital to do it. Yeah. And so we saw a lot of failures happen because of it. In the last year, though, I've seen probably the most transformation going on. Like people are really taking stock of, this is my data. It doesn't belong to DoorDash. It doesn't belong to Uber. How do I access it? How do I protect myself from third-party companies? And it's not just protecting yourself. It's about managing the partnership, managing the channel. You know, you can hate DoorDash all you want, but they bring a lot of business. You look at Orange Crate, which I ran from 2015 to I sold it 2023. For local restaurants around here, we brought pretty decent business. Well, I went against the grain after I sold Orange Crate and I signed up for DoorDash. It brings me 5 times the volume that I was getting through Orange Crate. So I can't give it up because it's good business, but I think you have to learn how to manage it to not get, not give in or not know that customers out there are looking for the reasons not to pay you for the food. Correct. And that's where, you came in, where I found you guys.
Yeah. So I would just want to double down a little bit on the sort of the off-premise business, the online business, and the marketplace part of it. So like pre-COVID, the numbers used to hover around 7 to 8% of the total revenue was coming from like the third-party marketplace and the self-ordering channels. But now post-COVID, the landscape has completely changed. It's almost 20% plus. And for a lot of brands, we have seen this number grow as high as 25-30%, right? So, but do you think that the ways in which they sort of operate on these marketplaces, has that evolved, or it's pretty much the same? I just want your take, like how the restaurateurs are looking at marketplaces. Is it still a black box, or they're looking at it in a positive way? Like, what's the overall perception around the marketplaces in the hearts of like a food service entrepreneur?
That's a good question. For us, our off-premise business is about 85% now.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
this room that we're using was, had 4 booths in it.
Yeah.
Originally. We don't get that much dine-in, which has
Yeah.
allowed me to convert a lot of my restaurant into other functions.
Yeah.
I think that follows, at least up here in Ramona, that follows the same. There's a lot more off-premise than there was before.
Yeah.
Do restaurants recognize it? Most, I think, do, but there's still some that are holding out for somehow that hospitality that can continue to bring, those people back in.
Yeah.
They don't want to sign up for DoorDash. They don't want to give up commission. They don't want to do this. They want it to be like it was pre-COVID. And I don't think we can go back to pre-COVID.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, whatever you can say, but ultimately it's gonna get them business, right? I mean, you can't not rely on them, right? In some or the other way. So you have to. But do you think that a lot of them, they still feel that they are their enemies? They are not with them. They're not holding their hands when they need them. Do you think still it's a perception?
I think yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And like, what are the primary reasons like that? Still the perception, but ultimately because it's giving them business, right? But what are the
it's bringing them business, but the issue is that they're having to pay for that business, that they're having to fight to keep some of that money. They're paying a high commission, 30-35%, and they're not necessarily managing the menu to manage the channel. Like you don't need to give up 35% of your sales. You can up the price a little bit. You can get free delivery. I mean, there's a lot of ways to manage it that I don't think that they do.
Perfect. So personally, now I would just want to highlight your personal journey on these marketplaces. Any few problems which you want to identify and tell all the viewers that these are the challenges which you faced, and like any solution, any technology which help you overcome those challenges. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So. I will say that probably one of the best ways to get any help with any of these channels is to post on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I will tell you
You're telling the secrets.
I know.
You're sharing the secrets. That's how you build in public.
But that's how you build in public, and that's how not only you learn.
Much more effective on LinkedIn than it is on Twitter, and that's just for restaurant. I mean, the restaurant technology space. That's why I love what you do, is that you are willing to tag the appropriate people, so that they know that there's an issue. Like we're the users.
Exactly.
We should get some feedback.
So for 7 months, I couldn't get onto DoorDash.
Wow.
So I would fill out the form. They would ask me for 3 forms of ID and all this other stuff, and drop into a black hole. And I went around this circle constantly. I would talk to people on the phone and whatnot. They didn't believe me to be a real restaurant, even though my Google listing showed everything, all that other stuff. So one day, I think it was in February, I wrote a thing about how frustrating it was dealing with DoorDash. And within an hour, I think 3 people from high up DoorDash reached out to me. And within an hour after that, I was live.
Wow.
And it only, they fixed whatever the issue was, and they got in there. Now I kept their names. So every time I have an issue, I reach out to those people specifically. When I had issues with DoorDash, just giving refunds and then blocking me from being able to fight the refunds.
Yeah.
Because I have a low-tech Wise camera installed that aims down at the countertop where we unpack the orders and reconstruct them for DoorDash and then send them out the door. And people are saying, well, I didn't get something. Well, I have proof, but I have no way. But they're blocking me from being able to submit that proof. So I reach out again, through a post, and not only do I have conversations with them on things that they're doing to try to fix it, but I learned that internally DoorDash and their own virtual brands have the exact same problem.
Yeah.
That they're losing money as well, selling their products inside their own platform by the so there's 2 different silos here that are running the show and taking money from their own organization.
Yeah.
So I think that there's opportunity there to fix things and whatnot, but it just comes through conversations and don't know if I answered your question or
No,
if I
Priyam,
veered off
well,
somewhere else.
For the people that don't know that are listening, I mean, the reason we do this show is we talk about the business creator economy, and you, the viewer, you, the listener, to know that you have the power in your pocket to make significant improvements and to develop deep relationships with some of the most incredible technologists on earth. And Priyam, when did you find out about Andrew, and when did you find out he was one of your customers?
Yeah, so you gave a shout out to Chris, right? So Chris is our VP of Sales, and he was, I think, connected to Andrew a few months back, I believe. Yeah, and Andrew, I think, was posting. That's the beauty of building in public. He was posting, and that's when we realized that there is an operator near San Diego who is facing a similar issue, right? For which we have solved for. So just to give some context, we've built products for. Restaurant operators, help them manage and grow their business on third-party marketplaces. And a dispute manager is our sort of flagship product, in which we help the operators use AI and file for disputes and get a success rate as high as 70% plus on the disputed orders, right? And that's when we realized that there are so many operators who are facing such issues which Andrew is facing. And we wanted to build for them. We want, as I said earlier, right, we want the operators to only focus on innovating on food, innovating on how they can create value for the end customer with the best possible food, of course, covering the unit economics of it, right? So we don't want them to focus on such issues which Andrew was talking about, right? They don't have, it's a black box for them that what are the orders which are disputed. So we don't want the operators to go through this trouble, and that's why we built this dispute manager, which can help them get their sort of chargebacks from the customer, which was stuck. So that's a problem which we identified, and we have solved for it via the Voosh dispute manager. Yeah.
Is it when you see something like that? Because for restaurant owners, we know what reviews are, we know what Yelp is, we know what Google is, we see the Facebook. But a SaaS company, once you see someone building in public like Andrew or myself, that actually that's something that I've solved for. Oh my God.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like not only does he have the courage to address the problem, but we actually can solve it for him.
Exactly. And that's the power of connectivity which you're talking about, right? That if you are connecting with more people, you're building in public, like problem solvers like us will get to know a new set of problems, right?
Yep.
If Andrew wouldn't have talked about it in public, we would have not been very sure that this feature is going to add so much value in the ecosystem, right? So that's the beauty of a collaborative ecosystem. If we all can come together and solve for the problems, I think we're gonna have a better future for the industry.
How do you add multiple revenue streams?
You look for opportunities.
So are you in the restaurant business? Do you consider yourself in the restaurant business?
How about the food commerce business?
Food commerce, yeah, that's digital hospitality business.
Yeah.
Tell us about microgreens.
So, as
and we're gonna do a behind the scenes video on our YouTube channel, so you can see all of the incredible technology that Andrew's putting out and his microgreen room. But go ahead and tell us about the microgreen room.
With 85% of my orders going out the door and a lot of unused space in here, I have a 5,000 square foot restaurant. I only use really about 2,500 square feet. So one of the rooms I have is just devoted to essentially tech that needs a place to sit when it's not being used.
Unboxed tech. Unboxed or ready to be boxed. Wait, you were going to do a reboxing video.
I am doing a reboxing.
We'll go back to that. Let's talk about
reboxing. But anyway, so
I want to hear about the
I've got this space. So I've been interested in microgreens and growing for some time now. But it was always about how essentially build it off premise and then bring in the goods here. But I got to think about, why can't I grow inside the restaurant? Bring the farm to table into the restaurant and then grow inside of it. So back in, I think, April or May, I started laying out plans to take over 600 square feet of the restaurant and turn it into a microgreen grow facility. That required I had to get a permit from the county to be a culinary garden, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And then to build out this idea. And microgreens are like if you go on Facebook, you can find there are hundreds, maybe thousands of people growing microgreens in their basements, in their closets, in their spare bedrooms, and they're eking out like a $500 or $1,000 of extra revenue from their own home, going to farmers markets and stuff like that. Farmers markets are great. Like if I'm the only one growing microgreens in Ramona, awesome. there's like 10 people growing microgreens in Ramona. So who all goes to the farmer's market? So you want to go sell to restaurants, who better to sell to restaurants than me, someone that owns a restaurant, or direct to the consumer. But even better, why not use the stuff in my own recipes?
Yeah.
So my own cilantro, which is grown, my own basil, we cut the basil in the morning and it's on our pies by the afternoon. And microgreens have like all the nutrients built into the plant in the first 7 to 10 days. So those nutrients, live through the entire life of the plant, but they're most concentrated in the first couple weeks of their growth. So when you eat these samples that I brought out, you're tasting what that plant would be, later, but more diluted because you're not getting the full benefit of it. We can grow 40 different varieties of plants back there, and most of them grow in 7 to 12 days. Some of them, 18 to 21 days. Some have longer grow times, but everything's automated as much as possible. We still water by hand. There is some automation in the works that'll make it so it's auto watered, but we're running through a 3 to 4 day germ process. There's a 1 day blackout, and then there's lights that come on at 9:30 at night until I think 9 o'clock in the morning, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning. So we're getting that light cycle in there for the plants as well. And it's all low voltage, which is good because if you're in California, you know that electricity is like, incredible cost.
It's like gasoline.
Yeah, it's worse. It's like 3 times gasoline. So in this small space, and this is something that really any restaurant could do, the cost to build a rack is about $500. And you make back that investment in only 2 grows. So these trays sell for anywhere from $20 to $50. So that's you going to Restaurant Depot, you going to US Foods and buying the microgreens yourself for your salads, for your garnishes and stuff like that. Why not grow it yourself? It doesn't take that much knowledge. There's a little learning curve, but not much. So, I went overkill. I put in 14 racks. I can grow 280 trays of plant material every 7 to 10 days of whatever it's going to be. And then I can put it directly on there. So when customers come in to buy, to come get their food, I get to talk to them about farm to table, about how we brought our own greenhouse in-house and how we grow. Everything is grown here I'm like, there's no supply chain. It's not being grown, refrigerated, frozen, back to you. And then you've lost that taste. You're getting the super freshest taste you can possibly get right off the bat.
Nice.
And so we do have plans to grow it out further, no pun, to add another 2 sets of 14 racks. So that little section of space there, the way it's built today, will generate $250,000 a year in revenue, fully built out, $750,000. And that's me using it, me selling it to other restaurants, me selling direct to consumer. And then of course, my favorite, selling subscriptions.
Yeah.
So
that was very innovative. I mean, finding revenue streams out of like the same real estate, it's an amazing idea. And yeah, we tasted them. They taste amazing. Yeah. They're
Phenomenal.
They're
This
great.
one's one of my favorites.
Awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit about the profit margins, right? Because you talked that, since your business is 85% on the marketplaces and there's a significant chunk of money which goes in commissions, right? So how do you sort of think about your profit margins and any specific practices you have adopted to sort of manage your profit margins, increase your profit margins on these marketplaces? Anything you would want, from the marketplaces to be done in a different way so that it could help sort of online first entrepreneurs like you?
Sure.
Anything you want to talk about?
So to me, I think automation is really key. So knowing that we've got wages that are increasing, which will increase burden, which increases all the costs down the line, health, everything. When we started the restaurant, or when I essentially in July when I took it over, we have 14 employees running, doing the same amount of volume almost that we do today. Today I do it with 4 employees.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
we use automation wherever possible.
Yeah.
We humanize what we can't automate. We try to keep that nice personal touch with all of our customers, and really the subscription process also helps us with that because we get a lot of repeat business We get to know our customers. They come in, we greet them by name, so they feel more at home here in the restaurant. So really, I think that if I'm just starting out, I'm looking at how do I automate and how do I do it so that I don't have to have a large labor footprint? What equipment can I buy, or do I have to buy it? Can I rent it first to make sure that what I'm doing is the right path? If you buy a $50,000 oven and 6 months from now you just can't make it, you either still have to make those payments, or that's a loss and you're going to sell it. And you know what used equipment sells for.
Yeah,
it's like probably 5 or 10 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
So for us, we're looking at, like, for us, I'll open up in Oceanside. My first oven is rented. Whatever tech I have here, I can use down there as well. We'll probably at first make our own dough up here and move it down there for the commissary, because cloud kitchens is also like extremely small, tight spaces.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of extra room. But the automation, the small footprint, whatever you can do to minimize that up front is what's going to drive for you higher profit margins down the road.
Awesome. And like automation, do you also want to talk about automation of the processes you do on the marketplaces, like the software part of it, the data part of it? How do you feel is the importance of pulling in right data, sort of managing your customers on the marketplaces, be it your reviews, be it your disputes, as we talked about, be it your consolidated financials? How big an effort do you feel currently, to get all this data in a centralized place for these marketplaces? And like you can, if you want to talk about any tool or any solution, just help you sort of look at that data in a unified fashion, or sort of helping you manage your business on these marketplaces in a better fashion. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So we use owner.com for our whole back end for the orders coming in for our websites. It has a lot of built-in automation for SMS and for email marketing.
Okay.
Not quite to the level that I'd like to see it, but it's a process, and I've shared with them what I think they need to do for the future. I use Mr. Yum for doing some CRM marketing as well.
Got it.
It's got a really super easy interface to build emails out quickly. I've used Toast. Toast has a good email marketing with an AI component that they've just introduced. It's pretty spiffy. The open rates compare to that of Mr. Yum and of owner.com. So those open rates are good. For the overall data itself, I wish that I had more data insight into what goes on with DoorDash and Grub and Uber Eats and Grubhub, but more specifically, I do value, of course, Voosh for handling I know that my overall my loss costs have gone down since engaging Voosh in that regard. And also, I don't have to log in and look, because I get really pissed when I look at and read somebody and they're like, they got a $7.50 credit on a dipping cup that they said they didn't get. So, but it's really about trying to pull in all that data, all that knowledge into one centralized location. And I don't think we're there quite yet. We're getting there, but it would be nice to have one master brain in there.
So that's what actually we have solved at Voosh with our consolidation feature. We consolidate all the data points, your key metrics, like your ratings, like your reviews, like your financials, like your disputes, in a centralized dashboard, and you can take actions via the Voosh dashboard. So you don't need to go to these standalone marketplaces to look at your critical data points. We have built in our technology to flow all the information in a single dashboard, and you can manage and grow your third-party business.
Cool.
Via
I'll
Voosh.
have to explore that more.
Perfect.
In all my spare time.
In all your spare time.
Perfect.
For those that are interested, talk about fundraising. What are you doing to grow your footprint? What's the offer, and how can somebody that's listening to this think differently about opening up their next one location or 25 locations?
Sure. So I actually turned to my LinkedIn followers and my customers, and I do kind of a unique crowd fundraising opportunity. So I know that I'm going to make pies, in each new location. So I built, because I like subscriptions, I built a rev share subscription model. So You subscribe for like either $300 or $500, and in return, I will give you 2 cents or 4 cents of every pizza that I produce that's a saleable pizza. So not a subscription pizza, but one that we actually sell.
Yep.
And we allocate about $4 of each of our pies because we get an average of about $19 in profit per pie. We allocate $4 of that pie towards those subscriptions. So you sign up for $500. Every day I send out a email that says, in this particular store, this is how many pies that we made for the day. It might be 55 or 60 pies. And then there's a little equation that says you made $3 today. And so that amount accumulates over 12 months. It runs only for 12 months. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to continue it after the 12-month period or if I just let it ride. Because in a location like Ramona, if you subscribe at the $500 level, our projections so far from what we've done in Ramona look like you'll make about $650 for the year. So, and you can cash out every day, anytime you want, from that subscription. But as we move into stores like Oceanside and Philly, locations that will have probably 120, 150, 180 pies per day that we're selling, that $500 subscription probably needs to be increased in cost because I'm going to be giving out probably more money than I need to. But you're the guys that are here that have faith in me, that are saying, I think what he's doing is good and it has legs and it'll grow. My intent is to open up 24 stores by the end of 2024.
Wow.
I've got 3 stores leased in various stages through cloud kitchens and through maker kitchens that will allow me to open. I've got marketing plans in place. I've got everything, moving right now. So by the end of the year, we're at 4 locations.
What's the name?
Mamma Ramona's.
Mamma Ramona's.
Mamma Ramona's. Yep. I was going to go with the whole robot theme, but people are kind of iffy about robots. Really? Yeah.
That was the feedback?
Yeah. Iffy.
Really?
So I was sad because I love robots. But Mamma Ramona's is also a brand that's been around since 1970. Well, it was Mama Rose's from 1977.
So Mamma Ramona's will be in Philly.
Mamma Rose's will be in Philly on Girard.
So no pizza robot in Philly.
Technically, it's owned by a robot pizza company.
But, a robot pizza company.
But yeah, so we signed a lease on Girard Avenue in Philly, right next to, I think, Temple University, in some cloud kitchen space. We signed in Cloud Kitchen's new Oceanside space, which they just opened up. We are on the fence, but likely to sign the one at Aztec.
Yep.
Because we want to tap into San Diego State. We've agreed to Maker Kitchens, and then I'm looking for the next 4 at San Francisco, Tempe or Phoenix, Denver, and somewhere in Southern California, like like Orange County area in there. But they're all owned by us. They're not, franchises or anything like that. And they're all using our same methodology that goes into extremely small footprints, small labor footprints, pretty decent profit margin coming out of them.
It's amazing. So I do want to talk about my daughter coming to your restaurant. So I brought my wife, my son, and my daughter. It was the first time that I came to Andrew's restaurant. We did a bunch of video content together, but he had a pizza serving robot. So Caddy Robotics, which is the local distributor, Travis Lee, and Keenan Robotics, which is the actual robot. But this robot delivered what you guys see here, these beautiful pizzas, to our table, and my kids lost it. Like, they absolutely lost their mind. They couldn't believe how cool it was. They were talking to the robot. They're like, when's the robot coming back to the table? The next day, I took my kids to school, and my daughter's like, "Are we going to see the robot restaurant?" I'm like, "Not today, sweetie." The next day, "Are we going to the robot restaurant?" And I was like, "Andrew, you got to get me in touch with Travis. We need a Keenan robot at our restaurant." So now we have a barbecue serving robot. Tell me about robots. And obviously, I know it's a lot different when you're doing a cloud kitchen, maker kitchen expansion. But where do you see? I mean, you have picnic machines. Where do you see robotics and the future of pizza?
For us, we use it to be able to, of our limited dining now, but it allows us to serve those tables, to bring out all the food all at once, or to bus a table quicker, So like when your group came out, I think you're like 8 people.
Yeah, it was my
roughly.
mom. Yeah.
So I can load up all the food on all 4 trays. I can send it out to you, and then I can be there to greet the robot, to hand the food off to you and whatnot. That allows me to stay within that small footprint because I don't have to have a food runner.
Yep.
I don't have to go 3 trips back and forth to the kitchen, and then the food you got first and then the food your wife got later.
Correct.
Is, essentially different temps. So we call her Rosie. And she's super helpful for us. And then again, to go and bring her back after all the guests have left, load up all the plates and send her to the kitchen so that someone can wash those dishes and we can turn the table faster.
Yeah, I mean, the coolest thing for me is to see the looks on our customers' faces, because it's the same look that was on my daughter and son's face when the robot came. Is that it's so cool to be where we are in 2023, and we're just in the beginning of robotics.
Right. And
we
it
go to
sings
all these,
happy birthday.
and it does sing happy birthday. It brings out Peach Cobbler at our restaurant, sings happy birthday. But we're just in the beginning. You go to all these tech shows and you see the robots on display, and we think, oh, that's nice. They're not coming, but they're here.
They're already here.
Robots
They're
are
already
here.
here.
Yeah.
They're here.
How are robots in India?
I think it's as I was saying earlier, that the adoption of new technologies, I think US has the fastest adoption. So I feel in India they are still pondering upon, they're still thinking whether they should adopt it or not, because there are some ethical angles to it which people sort of unnecessarily sort of hype it up. So I think there is a lot
Is it because they want hospitality, or is it the actual
No, it's because there's
we're scared of the AI?
Yeah, exactly.
We're scared of the artificial
scared of the AI, yeah.
But it
And-
has nothing to do with we
No,
need to be served by a human.
No, it's nothing. No. I don't. As you
Because
said,
that's
that
a
humans,
lot. I mean, what we deal with in America is a nostalgia, where it's like, I need someone to pump my gas,
Right.
because someone's always pumping, or I need someone to take my money at the toll booth because someone's. It's like, why would you need to do that?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel that's a unnecessarily hyped argument. I feel with AI, like new kinds of jobs will come, so we don't need to be scared of that, but we need to embrace it. So I feel that US like that embracement is higher. That's why we are seeing much faster adoption compared to the other nations.
Oh. Did you try Mo yet? The
No.
robot?
Not yet. What's Mo?
So Mo is, I don't know what they actually call it, but it's a mopping and sweeping robot
That I think
From
is, I
Caddy.
think that's going to be from Caddy.
from Caddy.
Really?
So I had it for a couple weeks to try it out.
Yeah.
I called it Mo, which was from Wall-E, which is a micro obliterator and eliminator robot
Okay.
from the movie. And so after all the guests left, it's like the size of a short, small refrigerator that you have in a dorm room. You fill it with water, and then you build a whole
It's a commercial. It's a
right,
commercial Roomba.
right. So
It's brilliant.
but it works. It doesn't get stuck under a table and send you
amazing.
a picture of a leg that you're never going to find.
Yeah.
So it clean. I mean, and we mop our floors every night after we're done. But this thing mopped better than I've ever seen. Like that water that came out of that robot was the blackest water I'd ever seen.
Oh, wow.
It made me look like, oh my God, I've got this super dirty restaurant, but it just scrubs. It's got little brushes that scrub all the grime from 40 years of here, and then wash it up to 4 times running through there. So for an hour, 2 hours, it would run the entire restaurant, clean it, to where I got in the kitchen. They're like, can we just leave our mats up and let it clean for us? So it doesn't go under tables. It's a little taller, but it did a pretty amazing job. It's probably about $700 a month to lease. So depending on what your staff makeup looks like, it may or may not make sense.
Yeah.
Just like there's a cool robot from NOLA that will wash your dishes. And it's got arms and an AI, and it looks to see what the food particles on the plate, picks it up, scrubs it, washes it, sticks it in the dishwasher, and then on the other side there's an arm when it comes out, picks it up, puts it on the shelf.
Wow.
That's about $3,000 a month. So that's probably 2 dishwashers for you. So at what point does it make sense? If you're doing a lot of dine-in, you haven't been hit like the rest of us, and you have a lot of dine-in still, at what point does it make sense to switch that mundane task to something that's automated that can handle it for you?
Sure.
And that's where I think that's part of the overall automation. What can you do to automate for those tasks that it's hard to find people? Because if you're like me, yes, you can run an ad on Instagram or Facebook and whatnot, but you still have to get a body in here. You still have to get them to show up. And I've learned that even when you're paying $20, $23 an hour, they may not necessarily show up, even with that, because there's a more fun beach party, or my friends are going to a bar, or I just don't feel like working today. And what are you going to do about it? Because you need me to show up at some point. So I think these options for automation exist and can help any new operator that start, or even an existing operator. You just got to kind of think outside the box.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are watching, listening, please join us every Wednesday, every Friday on the social audio app Clubhouse, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's a chance for you to get onto a live show. So we'll bring you on stage, tell us about your restaurant. If you're in sales, if you're in marketing, if you're a content creator, if you're in technology, the rising tide lifts all ships, and we've got digital hospitality leaders from all over the globe. But Priyam, I would love for you to give any lessons learned of your day of digital hospitality. What have you learned, and what can you share with the viewers?
Oh, yeah. I mean, first of all, it's a new learning every day. I'm also learning.
First time hosting a podcast?
First time hosting a podcast.
Look at that.
Thanks to Shawn.
You did phenomenal.
Thank you so much. I mean, learning, I feel I'm learning more about people, and I'm learning from them a lot, actually. The people, the operators in the hospitality industry. I mean, they know how to deal with people, right? So that's something which I have learned from them, and which I just try to be. So I feel that the only way you can build long-term relationships is adding value in the lives of the people you're offering your product to, right? So you just in the end, whatever sales pitch you can do, whatever marketing, advertising you can do, but ultimately, if you're not solving a real problem for the end user, you're just not gonna. Just not gonna make it, right? So I think that's, for me, is the biggest learning, that ultimately it can't be faff. It has to be like a real solution to a real problem. Otherwise, everything is just going in vain. Yeah.
Andrew, what's the biggest lesson you've learned this year?
I need to today or this year?
Today. Sure, today.
For today, I need to put an air conditioner in this room.
For your studio?
Yeah, from my new studio.
For your new studio. I told you you're building a studio.
Yeah.
First time
Why
I came
not?
here. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Every restaurant should have a studio.
They should.
Nice.
Multimedia
Absolutely.
studio.
It actually was set up as a studio when I first opened it, or when I first redid it. And then I switched it back to this family room, but this is one of my favorite rooms to sit in. So,
And you could probably rent it out and have one more income stream.
maybe I'll figure a way.
You'll figure a way.
I'll figure a way.
We appreciate you guys listening. If you want to connect with me, it's at Shawn P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. You can also connect with us at CaliBBQ Media on YouTube, as well as Instagram. Priyam, how can people stay in touch with you?
Yeah, you can stay in touch with me on LinkedIn with my name, Priyam Saraswat, Priyam Saraswat, or you can follow the Voosh page where we keep on sharing a lot of technology advancements in the restaurant tech space. If you are an operator, you can just come follow us and learn more about how to grow and manage your online business. On Instagram, I'm with Priyam Saraswat.
He crushes it on Instagram, by the way. He crushes it. If you're a founder, follow him and learn from Priyam.
Yeah, it's Priyam Saraswat on Instagram. You can just come follow me and
And
see
soon
my
to
journey.
be TikTok.
TikTok, So I mean, Shawn always inspires me.
I do it live.
Yeah, Shawn
that way I
inspires
have
me.
it on video.
Yeah, Shawn inspires me to be on as many channels as possible. So I'm definitely gonna be
TikTok.
there.
Imagine
as well.
how many views it would have got. That 2 million views on Instagram. How many would you have gotten on TikTok? Maybe 10.
10 million,
10
maybe.
million.
Why
It's
not?
possible.
Yeah, global audience. Global,
All right.
Global
Once
reach.
this episode comes out, follow Priyam on TikTok, because his page will already have been launched.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Andrew, how can people connect with you?
You can connect with me on Instagram at Mamma Ramona's. It's two M's, MAMMARAMONAS, or you can follow me on LinkedIn at Andrew Simmons.
Beautiful. And if people are interested in investing, where do they go?
You're going to want to go to a website called Pizza Roboto, PIZZAROBTO.io.
Beautiful. There it is. The future of pizza, the future of technology. Priyam, Andrew, thank you. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you, and we will catch you next week. Thank you.